afternoon and thanks for joining us. I'm Judy Simpson. Technology has helped improve our lives, but at the same time, it's also helped enrich the lives of con artists. So today on the program, we're going to discuss protecting you and your family from a variety of scams. Joining me is Vermont's top law enforcement officer, Attorney General Bill Sorrell. Welcome. Thanks so much for being with us.
Happy to be with you.
And so what are some of your chief concerns when it comes to technology and internet and telephones?
Well, as you mentioned, the technological advances are enhancing our lives in so many ways, but those who want to steal from us, scam from us, or scam us are taking advantage of this same technology, and whether it's communicating with us through the over the telephone or through the internet. With more and more seniors being online these days, there are ways that are very efficient to communicate with consumers and cast a wide net, and they can take advantage of the technology in ways that most people wouldn't imagine. So there's one thing we see in the telephone arena right now. Most people have caller ID, so they can see the number that is calling them. Well, there's something we call spoofing now, where there's some technology where, and we got a complaint about this just at our consumer assistance program in the last week, that this person who called us to complain received a call, and it looked like it was coming from the Attorney General's office.
Oh my
On
goodness.
the caller ID
Yeah.
indicated Attorney General's office, and it was about this scam about getting some government grant money or whatever. And we were very pleased that this person called us to complain. Well, first of all, to inquire, did you really call me about this? But
Right.
but to let us know, and folks who are getting scammed, who are suspicious, letting us know what they're hearing out there is a real public service. So for the real scams, we can get alerts out so that other consumers won't be taken in.
Let's talk a little bit about the kinds of robocalls. First of all, what is a robocall?
Well, robocalls are, it's this mechanical system that can make literally thousands of phone calls automatically, and there's no live person making the call. It's sort of computer-driven phone calls, but when you answer and engage, then a live person will get on. But robocalls are used. We've received hundreds and hundreds of complaints from Vermonters over the last year who have gotten robocalls for, a couple of the big ones are these medical alert systems or these home security systems. And for example, in the medical alert, it's once you've said hello and you're ready to engage, then a live caller gets on and says, you know, you've either been chosen to receive this medical alert, or one of your relatives has purchased for you a medical alert, so that you're always just a click of a button away from ambulance or medical assistance if necessary. And all that you need to do is pay for the delivery of the service, and so it's, you know, $10 or whatever to have it delivered and set up. So we need your credit card information, and from there it's off to the races. They've got your credit card information, and it's a scam, and you can be charged huge amounts of money over time once you've given that out. Sometimes they'll sweeten the deal with, you're also going to get free groceries, certain X $100 worth of groceries or whatever. And the point is that, and sometimes they will say, now if you're not interested in this offer, just press 1 on your phone. Don't do that. Because by doing that, you're confirming to them that your number is a good number. You're a person who's home, who answers your phone.
You're a good target.
You're a potential target. Much better than the random robocall calls. Your number can be there as a hot target. So the best thing to do in this situation, whether it's on the telephone or online, if it's an email, what we call phishing, trying to get your personal information, trying to get your credit card or your bank account information or whatever, is to just hang up. record the number that appears to be the caller's number, call our consumer assistance program, tell us what the offer was or what you think was a scam, and the number from which it was called. We would turn that information over to the feds. But virtually all of these medical alert or home alert calls are scams. And many people think that they should be polite and say, thank you very much, but I'd rather not do this or whatever. I hate to advise Vermonters to be rude, but with the technology today, if you're not interested, if it's not a call that you've initiated, a contact that you've started.
Or something that you're expecting.
Right, that you're expecting, that a relative of yours say, Mom, I signed you up for this or that, so that you're expecting it, then just hang up, just delete, don't click on any links on the computer. That avoids computer viruses and such. And so I'm sorry to say, but being a little curt, a little rude, it can protect you from scams with today's technology.
Now, you brought a pie chart that shows all the different kinds of scams and the prevalence of them. So let's talk about another one, sweepstakes and lotteries. This is a big one because who doesn't want to win something? Who doesn't want to pick up the phone and have someone say, you've won, congratulations?
Well, one thing we say in the consumer protection world is if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. But unfortunately, you get, for example, the sweepstakes or lottery, you have won. You've won the Canadian lottery. You have won the Australian lottery. And you say, well, gee, I didn't buy a chance.
Ticket, yeah.
A ticket. Well, you must have relatives who travel and whatever. I mean, nieces, nephews, or whatever, who might just have written and put your name in or whatever. So we've got to check. You are Mrs. Jane Doe from wherever in Vermont, such and such a street. Yes, I am. Well, we have a check right here for $500,000 or whatever for you.
All you have to do is send us.
Canadian taxes, a payment of $2,000 or whatever for taxes, port fees if you've won some sort of travel, trip to wherever. You've got to, and I've seen some Vermonters say, well, what I said to them was, why don't you just take that money out of my earnings and send me a check for the remainder, which intuitively makes sense, but they'll never do that. They want your bank account information and or your credit card number. And if you give your bank account information, for example, they can make withdrawals from your account in the nature of checks. They're called demand drafts, without your signature anywhere. All they need is those numbers.
That's scary.
Yeah, very much so.
Another scam, which is something that particularly irks me because I think it's pretty ruthless, it's called the grandparent scam.
Oh, yes, and we've had a number of seniors in Vermont fall prey to that. And what it is typically a call that comes that purports to be from your grandchild. And they'll even say, Grandma, this is Jane. I don't sound like myself because I've got a cold or something. But it's usually one of two things, that they're outside the country or they're elsewhere in the United States. And it's one of a couple of things. They've run afoul of the law and they're going to be put in jail. And I need $1,000 or whatever money so that I won't have to go into jail and this can be worked out. Or I've been in an auto accident. I need emergency surgery. Because I'm in Canada or Mexico or wherever, my health insurance isn't working. Could you please wire me the money so that I can have this emergency surgery? And we've had cases where Vermonters have been told, I mean, if they're going to wire money, there are federal estimates that wire transfers of money of at least $1,000 to Canada. At one stretch, the Federal Trade Commission said that a majority of those transfers are scams, a majority.
Wow.
And we've had situations where wire transfer agents in Vermont have said to Vermonters, you know, Mrs. Jones, I think this is a scam. I don't think you should send this. And, you know, Mrs. Jones saying, I'm going to run that risk. I love my granddaughter. She's in distress, and I'm going to err on the side of getting this money to her. So the reality is, if you hear from supposedly your granddaughter or grandson and they're in that kind of trouble, call another one of your relatives to see if your grandchild is in fact traveling, whether they have received a call to that effect or whatever. But again, seniors tend to be more trusting than others. You love your relatives,
that's
and
terrible.
you wanna respond to calls for help. But we see too many of those situations where good, honest, trusting Vermonters are taken in by this.
Okay, more online scams too involve classified ads like eBay or Craigslist, especially Craigslist. People think, oh, it's my neighbor or someone I'm, you know, familiar, smaller, you know, venue, Craigslist.
That's again more of the online world that it can appear that the email you're getting or the ad is totally legitimate, but it's a fabrication. One of the things we call phishing, for example, is you'll get an email from a local bank or a national bank. I'll pick on Bank of America, and says, you have an account with Bank of America and it's been compromised. And so this is our service to you to make sure that you're not a victim of theft. And please just click on this link to change your PIN number. And so if you do that, first of all, your computer could be getting infected, but secondarily, they then ask you what your current PIN number is.
Oh boy.
And so you type that in, and then it asks you to reset your PIN number. And then it'll say, and don't try to access your account for 24 hours so that we can reset your PIN and make sure everything's legitimate. Well, during that 24 hours, your bank account will be drained. So in that situation, if they're lucky enough, they take a chance that you do have an account with Bank of America, and it sounds like they're doing this great service to you. Do not click on anything, but call your bank, whether it's your local bank, the Merchants Bank, or TD Bank North, or the Vermont State Employees Credit Union, whatever. Call them, and because you won't be getting an email from your bank saying that your account has been compromised. And similarly, what looks like legitimate Craigslist advertisements and such, buying you know, a motorcycle or whatever that's very inexpensive, or a boat or something like that, wire this money off, you know, step back, log into what you know is Craigslist and see if there's an advertisement, and then deal with them if you wish. But if it's something that's coming to you, Craigslist is not going to be communicating directly to you when you haven't been searching to buy a new you know, bicycle or boat or whatever.
Let's get back to phone scams. How can people help protect themselves from unwanted calls? Is there a
Well,
way?
you can get on the Do Not Call registry, and there's information how to do that. But if do not call, that doesn't affect political campaigns, charitable organizations, debt collectors, nor does it affect companies that you've willingly done business with. And understand that scam artists don't respect you being on the do not call list, but that's a start. And again, when you get a call or a communication that you think is suspicious, take the information, call us. But if you ever are engaging with them, don't ever make arrangements to make payments in response to a phone call that was made to you or an email to you. If you've made the call and you're calling, you know, Macy's or whatever to buy something online, that's fine. But if Macy's or what purports to be Macy's is calling you, be very suspicious. And if they're saying that you've won something, ask them to send the offer to you in writing, and don't ever fall for one of these things where you've got to act right now or you're going to miss this opportunity to get this great benefit. The scam artists use the immediacy, the emergency aspect as a matter of course. Don't fall for it.
Well, Attorney General Bill Sorrell, I want to thank you for joining us today. And of course, we had the number up if you have any questions to call your office.
Please do. It's a public service when you call us to ask us questions or call us to bring matters to our awareness that might be scams that are going on in Vermont.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
That's our program for today. I'm Judy Simpson. We'll see you again next time on Across the Fence.